Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to play with alcohol inks, and I'm also going to use this mixative as well in a silver. And what I'm going to do is show you how you can use your alcohol inks on ceramics. So there's a few things you're going to need. Now I think this works really well with plant pots, but the only thing I've got close to hand is this mug. So I'm going to show you how we can get a design on the mug. You've obviously need some alcohol inks. I'm just going to use two different colours here, as you can see. And then I've also got my heat gun. Just I do want to layer it up and dry it off quickly to then apply more. I've obviously got my glass mat anyway, so if you've not got a glass mat, just make sure you protect your surfaces with either a craft mat, one of the Teflon craft mats I'd recommend, to make sure you don't damage your table. Now the other thing you may need is a kind of top coat. So I'm going to use a Krylon triple thick crystal clear glaze. Now this is really good because it's a spray on, so you don't see any brush marks. This is what I've been using for any of my Cricut products where I want to affix vinyl, that kind of stuff. Now in terms of being safe for this is going to be a drinking cup, I'm going to be very careful not to apply it near the rim of the glass. It does say not to take internally, so I'm going to take that as read that we shouldn't be putting it near our lips either. But if you're using it for something like a bowl, a plant pot, a glass, anything for decoration and ornament, then you will be absolutely fine. And what that's going to do is set the alcohol inks and make sure that it doesn't wash off at all. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm not going to use that in the craft room though, that always gets used outside in a well ventilated area. But let's start off with this mug. Now you can see I've got a glove on here because the alcohol inks, this is going to be a messy project. Now I've made sure these are already shaken before we start, and what I would say is the good thing about doing it on something like this, a nice rounded mug or bowl, is that you can then use the insides of it just to keep hold of it whilst you turn it around and make sure you've got it where you want it to be. You can see as well that I'm kind of tilting it downwards just so I get that kind of effect so it drips down as well. And I'm just putting a nice generous coat of this colour on here and mixing it around. I hope you can see the effect of that. Now I'm going to go in with my silver. And then you can either use like a brush. I'm going to use just the glove actually, just to mix in where I want it to blend. Wouldn't recommend using alcohol blending solution as such, but I do sometimes use this propylene surface spray as well. So I'll just show you what that does. You can see that it just gives it that little bit more ability to maneuver on the glass, makes it a bit more fluid. You can see there as I'm just tapping it. We can add a bit more as well. Always love playing with these inks. You know, you never know what design you're going to get. No two things will be the same, that's for sure. Okay. And that it doesn't take very long at all to do. Obviously the stuff that you don't want is easy enough to wipe away at this stage. If it's gone on, like the handle for example, where I don't want it to go, I know I can wipe that off. And just keep playing with it until you're happy with the result. Just going to fill in some of these gaps. And you see how quick that is to do. Let me just quickly show you now the end result of my little cup. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take that outdoors and then spray it with the glaze. As I mentioned, you can heat this up as well if you want to layer it, just to dry it off first. You can see on the mixative as well, I get that little crackling effect, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a light coat of this and leave it 10-15 minutes, and then it will be ready to use. And I'd love to see your creations. So if you do create any of these yourself, please hashtag weekendcraftaholic on Instagram, and then I can see what you've made. Otherwise, have yourself a great crafting weekend.